President Biden facing growing political pressure after 6 additional items of classified material were uncovered in his Delaware home. For more on this, let's bring back Lucas Tomlinson, who is standing by live on the north lawn of the White House. Lucas, what more do we know about these latest sensitive items that were recovered?
Well, Mike, it's notable that for the second consecutive weekend, the White House has announced that more classified documents were found. Recall, just 10 days ago, Karine Jean-Pierre here in the White House briefing room said the investigation into those classified documents, at least the gathering of those documents, was completed. And so now you have more classified documents for the second consecutive weekend. If you could pull up that statement from President Biden's lawyer, it's worth diving into the language. There it is. He says the DOJ took possession of materials it deemed within the scope of its inquiry, including 6 items consisting of documents with classification markings and surrounding materials, some of which were from the president's service in the Senate and some of which were from his tenure as vice president. It's worth noting there, Mike, from the president's service in the Senate. Of course, Joe Biden first came to Washington as a U.S. Senator 50 years ago when Richard Nixon was president. So if you're talking about documents that go back to his time in the Senate, who knows how far back these go? Of course, Joe Biden was chairman of the Foreign Relations Committee. That's a job that required him to be cleared, to have some kind of clearance. Of course, he traveled the world, met with foreign leaders, and was reviewing highly sensitive information. So the fact that this goes back not just to his time as vice president, going back to his time as Senate, that's very, very notable. And as you mentioned, the FBI taking part of this search on Friday certainly raises questions about just how deep this scope is. But I think what's angering many Americans nationwide is the fact that this started off as just finding a few documents, a small number, the president said, who later said that he has no regrets about this. And now we keep hearing about more classified documents being discovered, Mike.
Trip to another important matter there at the White House. Lucas, the Washington Post is reporting that Jeffrey Zients is expected to be the next White House chief of staff, with Ron Klain expected to depart after 2 years in a very difficult job. What about Jeff Zients, a familiar name here in Washington?
That's right, Mike. What's most notable about Zients' recent past, of course, he was the coronavirus response coordinator here at the White House. Now, certainly many Americans were very angry about how the coronavirus was handled, both in the last administration and this administration. Certainly, when you look at school lockdowns, school closures, some questions about the vaccine, there will certainly be some scrutiny about Zients and this administration's handling of the coronavirus. And if that, there's going to be a lot of questions about that, certainly, Mike.
Lucas Tomlinson doing double duty for us live on the North Lawn. Lucas, thanks very much.
I'm Steve Doocy.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.
There is a male suspect that fled the scene and remains outstanding as of this moment. Our very preliminary description has been described as a male Asian, and that's from the scene here in Monterey Park. We are still in the very early stages of this investigation, and there actually is a lot more that we don't know than what we know at this time.
President Biden said he had no regrets in how he handled this. Do you have any advice for him on how he should handle this?
Oh, I think he should have a lot of regrets. Yeah, I would think that. I said whoever's responsible. I mean, if I hold people accountable, and I use whether it be my chief of staff or my staff that we're doing this, and I'm looking at, then I'm going to hold someone accountable. But basically, the buck stops with me.
So you think he should be out there and look? I messed up. Maybe I didn't do it. Just say it. Just fall on your sword here.
We're all human.
Yeah.
We make mistakes. I can tell you, I don't think anyone intended. He sure didn't intend for it to fall in the wrong hands and use it against our country. I know they didn't intend that to happen. Could it have happened? I don't know. And yeah, you just might as well say, listen, it's irresponsible. It was something we should have had a better check and balance on.
Now, former President Trump defied a subpoena. So in that sense, the way each has handled it is different. Do you acknowledge that?
Absolutely, much different than the other. One's saying, okay, I hope I didn't make any mistakes.
Right.
I hope no one was compromised. I hope we didn't hurt our country. And the other one says, no, I know it didn't. Believe me. Well, you know what? What they said, verify, you have to verify.
Trust but verify.
Trust but verify. Let's find out. And that's what the special counsel's about.
And that's what you want here, both special counsels to sort of resolve this.
First of all, every one of us in our life have to be held accountable and responsible for our actions.
Yeah.
That's, people want accountability. And they want basically, when you're held accountable, are you responsible or not? Mm-hmm. If you are, can you fix that? Did you make a mistake? Fine. And
that's what you think. The president needs to get out there and just get in front of
Cicero said to err is human. You're a human being. You're going to make mistakes.
Yeah.
Did you intend to make it? Did you intend to harm somebody? Did you intend to basically do an irresponsible thing? I don't think. Hopefully, neither one of them did.
Right.
But they sure turned out to be irresponsible.
South Dakota Governor Kristi Noem taking action to protect her residents from foreign adversaries by banning government contracts with China, Iran, North Korea, Russia, Cuba, and Venezuela. Governor Kristi Noem joins us now. Governor, tell us about this executive order and why you did it.
Well, these are evil governments that hate the United States of America, and I want to make sure that South Dakotans are protected from doing any kind of business with them in telecommunications or state contracts. And we're bringing legislation that will prevent China from buying ag land in South Dakota, too. We saw the Communist Party try to buy up assets in other states, and that's not going to happen here in South Dakota.
Why are the Chinese trying to buy up American farmland?
You know, they've been doing this for years, Rachel. They've been buying up our food supply chain. You know, we've talked about the national security threats, the military that they're building up. They're stealing of our IP, manipulating currency. But they've also been buying up our food processing systems, our manufacturing plants, our chemical and fertilizer companies. Now they're buying up our land. They want to control us. And there's 40 million acres in this country right now that's owned by foreign entities and foreign governments. We need to stop that before it becomes a real problem right here in South Dakota.
So you're banning companies associated with China. Does that mean you're banning the Biden family from South Dakota?
Yes, absolutely. Can I do that? Is there an executive order I can do on that? That'd be great.
But it's a serious issue. I mean, you're talking about how these deals, this elite capture by China and other governments, is affecting state policy and, of course, our own federal and foreign policy.
Oh, it absolutely is. The more people become normalized with doing business with China, the more they cave in to their demands, the more access they give to their personal information, their currencies, their financial information. I banned TikTok several months ago from all state devices and made it a crime if people did download it and access it because it was a real threat to our people. And we know that they're collecting data on United States citizens. So we should never forget that China wants to destroy the United States of America. They've got a long-term plan for generations to do so, and that we need to do all we can to protect ourselves and make sure we stay strong.
Yeah, well, you're setting a really great example. It's not just the role of the federal government, it's the role of governors and states to be on the alert. And this executive order, I hope other states follow suit. Governor Kristi Noem, always great having you on.
Thank you. Happy Sunday.
You too.
Unfortunately, when the fire department did get into the business, they did pronounce 10 of the victims deceased at the scene that I just described. But the 10 additional victims were transported to numerous local hospitals. They are listed in various conditions from stable to critical condition. There is a male suspect that fled the scene and remains outstanding as of this moment. Our very preliminary description has been described as a male Asian, and it's taken us a while, and please be patient with us, because as we're interviewing victims and witnesses, we've gotten different descriptions of one suspect. So when I say it's preliminary, please, again, be patient with us. We are working diligently with the Alhambra Police Department. We believe that there's an incident that may be related. We're not quite there yet, but it's definitely on our radar screen where a male Asian suspect walked into a dance hall, and he walked in there with a firearm, and some individuals wrestled the firearm away from him, and that individual took off. Now, some witnesses in that area are describing a white cargo van. We don't know, though, at this time, if it is connected. That white van should be considered a van of interest. But the next top priority is to arrest the person who did this, charge them, and get them prosecuted to the full extent of the law, no matter what the intent, motive, or anything was.